Damn it.
Are we good? We good, Clipper Nation? Can you hear me? Am I coming through all right? Check, 1, 2. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Osland with you on a Saturday night. Another Saturday night, and I ain't got nobody but Clipper Nation is there for me. Who do we got in here? Oh, Adam Osland's dad is in here first. MKXLNT is in here. We got a good show for you tonight. We're going to push back. It's my fault, but the Lauren Rosen interview will be coming this week, later this week. I don't want to burn it on a Saturday when people are watching college football. Like, it's one thing to do a show, because I do 7 days a week now here on Clippers Talk. It's one thing for me to do a show, but if I'm going to have a big-time guest like that, I'm going to have it on during a weekday when everybody's paying attention and not watching Georgia beat Texas. Is that what I was just doing? Joe Villa said, yes, we can hear you. Alex Webb said, got a laundry list of injuries tomorrow. Might be a long night. Not really. What laundry list of injuries, Alex? From what I saw and from what I heard, and we're going to play some audio for you. Oh, okay. I just saw it. Mo Bamba left knee injury recovery is questionable. Chris Dunn questionable with an illness. James Harden questionable with right groin soreness. So Kevin Porter Jr. being back and practicing today, and Norman Powell practicing today, was just covering up for some of the other injuries that are going on. Sore Losers Gaming said, proud to be a member of the Addams family. I have to make some shirts here. Darius Sanders said, in the house. Okay, coming up, you're going to hear from Coach Lue on Stephen A. The most pertinent and critical things that he said regarding Kawhi, what happened with Team USA, what happened with the Lakers job. He spoke very forthright about that situation, was revealing, and then his expectations for this season. Yes, I saw it, Alex. Now, obviously, we knew T-Man was out. You don't even got to put that in there. Harden, Dunn, Mo Bamba are questionable. I'm going to guess at least one of those guys plays. I'm going to guess James Harden plays. Just a guess. We'll see. But first, let's start off with some of the sound coming out of practice today from Coach Lue. And let's get the latest on Kawhi Leonard, who was at practice but not practicing with the team. He was going through shooting drills, and the reporters there weren't able to see it. In fact, I'll send you something here, or I'll show you the video of Joey Lynn and what he took at Clippers practice today. Let me share this with you guys here. So make sure we're up and good to go. Okay, here's Joey Lynn. At Joey Lynn, 2 N's and an underscore at the end, saying this was Kawhi trolling the media because he was going to why? Oh, is he going to? Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? No! Oh. He's smiling, having a good time. He puts one up on that hoop anyways. So there was Kawhi at practice, not practicing with the team yet. This is still just him getting up individual shooting drill type of workouts. In fact, let's hear from Coach Lue on the latest with Kawhi. If you can't hear it, let me know. Here we go.
You want a good hair day? Look over there.
Take it off. Okay.
How was the first couple of days you guys had off? How was that mentally?
Great.
Refreshed at all?
Yes.
Scoot, Norm, how they're seeing those guys change the injury?
They practice today. So they should be ready to go tomorrow.
That was about KPJ and Norman Powell. Coach Lue saying they practiced today, so they should be ready to go.
Kevin, Scoot fully practiced today?
Yes.
With Kawhi, I mean, where is he in his progress? I know you said he's progressing, but what has he been able to do on the court?
What is this about? You're a crybaby, dude? Does the guy just want to get muted? I don't understand. Seems pretty random here.
Just be on the court, shooting, going through some plays and stuff like that.
This is what Kawhi's been doing.
Just be on the court, shooting, going through some plays and stuff like that.
I know you guys mentioned that you would hope that he'd be ready every night. You also said you didn't expect him to be. Everyone,
I can't really hear. I'm sorry.
A lot of folks mentioned, you, Kawhi, also mentioned he wanted to be ready for opening night. You also said you didn't really expect him to be out without him for this long. So what's really keeping him from being where you want him to be at this stage?
Really good question there from Tomer Azarli.
Just do all the things. You got to check all the boxes and do all the right things, not skip any steps. And so when he completes that, then we'll move on.
What you confirmed today?
Kawhi has got to check all the boxes, complete all the steps, and they'll move on.
I don't know. He's just out.
Kawhi didn't practice today, but did individuals and stuff.
No, he didn't practice. He's out.
But he's just doing
Didn't practice. He's out. Joey Lynn asking the question.
Individual shooting stuff still?
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Individual shooting stuff.
What are the boxes you want him to check?
Good question, but that would be Justin Russo.
Get 100%.
Get 100%. Like,
I'm out of medical. I don't know.
yeah.
Like, I'm not in the lift.
want him to check.
What's going on here in the chat? So Justin Russo says, what boxes do you want him to check? I like this.
Just doing individual shooting stuff still?
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
What are the boxes you want him to check?
Get 100%.
Get 100%. Like,
I'm out of medical. I don't know. Like, I'm not in there lifting him and doing all that. Like, he's out. He's getting better. He's on the floor. He's doing stuff. And he's not ready to play.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Then
Thank you.
I have a question about Kawhi too.
Yes, go
One
ahead.
dude reported that
Brad Turner.
he'll be available before Christmas.
Is what?
Brad Turner's going to ask him about the Bill Simmons report about him being available before Christmas.
Be available before Christmas.
I don't know.
He didn't say Christmas 2026, but he did say Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know.
20, so you don't know about that.
No. Who said that?
Bill Simmons.
Oh, really?
He said it was inside Clipper guy, so I thought that might be you, the inside Clipper guy.
I put my name on it.
So would he be right
I'm
about?
never a source.
No, you're an accurate source.
Right?
You are the source that's accurate.
With my name on it.
Name on this. Will he be ready about Christmas?
I don't know.
Okay, good idea. How you doing today?
It was good.
How was Las Vegas?
It was
Are
great.
you feeling more refreshed right now?
Yes, I want to go back.
You go next week. You want to play 3 games over the next.
All right, so more of the same there. He's doing shooting drills. He's got to check all the boxes before he comes back. They asked him about what are those boxes. Coach Lue isn't part of the medical staff. He's not going to know that. So kind of a very similar check-in that we've gotten with Kawhi Leonard for some time. He's doing on-court work. He's shooting, going through plays. He's not skipping steps. He's checking boxes, has to get to 100%. He's getting better, but not ready to play yet. That's what we know so far about Kawhi. More on Kawhi in just a second here. And we'll get back to some of the practice audio today when we preview tomorrow's game against the Houston Rockets. Bunit said, when Kawhi tightens the braids, you know what time it is. Yes, everybody says it. Everybody says it. Here's what I'm going to say. Out of all the things we have gotten, out of all the little breadcrumbs that you can collect and the dots that you're trying to put together when it comes to Kawhi, I think the stuff I'm about to play you and him doing this interview with Stephen A. Smith at this time is not a coincidence. You may say I got a tinfoil hat on. Not wearing a hat at the moment. Getting ready to go to a party. It's Katie Newton, producer Katie, is doing a house cooling party instead of a house warming party because, well, now she's leaving the house that she never had a house warming party for, and she's calling it a house cooling party. Going away type of party. She's leaving us too on Clippers. radio in a little bit. So I think Coach Lue coming on Stephen A at this time is significant. Why do I say that? Because he's had plenty of time. He's had the entire offseason to come on the Stephen A. Smith show. If you're saying he's only coming on, well, yeah, they're boys, Adam. Why would he not come on? Why would he not come on with Stephen A? Okay, sure. Why didn't he come on this summer? Why now? I think I know why now. Because Kawhi's getting closer. And Coach Lue is confident in that. And that his return is imminent. That's why I think he's joining Stephen A. Smith right now. Honestly, I do. I'm not one to read too much into things. I told you guys the bobblehead doesn't mean anything coming out the 16th. That's just the last home game before Christmas, and it's a Christmas-themed Kawhi bobblehead. They have to get it out then. That doesn't tell you anything. This, from Coach Tyronn Lue, on with Stephen A. Smith, just a couple days ago, this is more meaningful to me. Because Stephen A. has been talking all sorts of trash about Kawhi. In fact, if you go to the video section here at Clippers Talk, the very first show I did, I think I'm in a tank top. It was really hot during the summer. The very first show I did on this channel was about Stephen A. continually going after Kawhi and how out of line it is and misinformed it is. I think Coach Lue is coming on now because he's got some ammo. I don't think he's coming on because, or if Kawhi was going to be out for, a significant period of time again, if he wasn't coming back right now, I don't think Coach Lue would be joining Stephen A. Smith. I don't think he'd be on. I think there's something to this because Stephen A. has been calling out Kawhi forever. So Coach Lue's coming on to set the record straight as Kawhi's getting set and ready and closer to returning. Makes sense. Let's hear. I'm going to play 5 different sound clips from this interview on the Stephen A. Smith Show with head coach Tyronn Lue, starting with this.
You rightfully should. When I've gotten on Kawhi Leonard, I certainly have never accused him of faking injuries. I know his injuries are legitimate, but I find myself so frustrated because when this dude is on the court, he is one of the top 5 elite players in the game, but he's almost never available, especially for you in the postseason. Could you put into your own words how frustrating, if at all, that has been for you as a coach who's coached in championship series, who's won a championship, who knows what it takes to win championships? What has that been like for you, having to deal with your superstar player almost never available when it counts?
Well, first off, I just want to just let people know, from Kawhi's standpoint, like for him, it's more frustrating. Like he wants to be on the floor, like he wants to play every single night. And it just, it's just a bad timing. Like, it's not like he said, okay, we get to the playoffs, I don't want to play. Like, it's been some tough days, some tough nights. And, I've talked to Kawhi nights where he's, almost cried just talking about, how he's let the team down. But you can't.
You hear that part? Did you hear that? I'm going to play that again for you.
Some tough days, some tough nights. And, I've talked to Kawhi nights where he's, almost cried just talking about, how he's let the team down. But you can't do anything about injuries. And he's another guy that works extremely hard every single day to be on the floor, to be on the court. And it's just some, unfortunate luck. I mean, like you said, I heard you say one day he has 35 and the next day he doesn't play. But it's not by design. Like, I mean, this guy works hard every single day, Stephen A., in the weight room, on the court, on his game, everything, every single day. And it's just sad for me because, like, I see the work he puts in, our players see the work he puts in, our organization sees it, and then when it's time to play, he can't go. And a lot of times, like, it's myself or it's our organization, like, hey, listen, Kawhi, you like 40%. Like, you can't go out there on the floor because you're gonna make it even worse. And so that's what I want to say, first of all. Like, Kawhi is a hell of a worker. He's a hard worker. And like you say, the top 5 player when he's healthy. And he's been unfortunate, with the injury bug, but it's not from a lack of work and it's not from a lack of wanting to be on the floor. For me, I just know, like I said, if I had PG, Kawhi, like I said, and James in the playoffs, or even before James got there, I think I can win at a high level. That's the pressure that I put on myself. That's the staff that our staff puts on ourselves. That if we'd have been healthy, I think we could win at a high level. And just we haven't had that opportunity. So, hopefully this year, like I said, he's been working really hard. He's getting close. He's been doing everything he needs to do. So hopefully this year, like we can have a strong, deep run when he comes back. But it's been very, very unfortunate, like I said, because I do want to see like when we're fully healthy, what we could have done, what we could have been.
Well, that's what.
For anyone to question whether or not Kawhi Leonard loves playing basketball, you're not making any sense. The hard work for these guys is what they do training-wise in the offseason. And nobody works as hard as Kawhi. Kawhi didn't come in the most talented guy, the most athletic guy. He didn't have an offensive repertoire when he came out of San Diego State. He didn't have the bag he has now. You know how that happened? All the training and work he puts in during the offseason. But that's not the fun part for players. That's not what is fun for them. The fun part is getting to actually go out there and test out their skills in games. That's what they want to do. And Kawhi hasn't been able to. It's so frustrating. You got to have a little bit of empathy for Kawhi Leonard, Clipper Nation. I know plenty of you do. I know 99% of you do, but I get people in here sometimes that say, oh, Kawhi doesn't care. They just make sarcastic remarks about him all the time. The load management king. They say all kinds of wild stuff. Kawhi has been legit hurt, legit injured. If anybody should get a pass for load management, it's him with his medical history and what's been going on. So come on. More from Stephen A. with Coach Lue.
My frustration has been like for you. I mean, you're a champion as a player with the Lakers. You're a champion as a coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, your reputation and your resume speaks for itself. And there's been times where you've literally reached out to me and told me to calm the hell down. You were kind about it. But that's what you told me because I was sitting up there. Man, he should leave the Clippers. I mean, why the hell should he stay? Because, damn it, he can't coach the team that he wants to coach because they're never available. What has your level of frustration been like, knowing what you can do, knowing what you have done, but also knowing that you don't have the pieces you're supposed to have to legitimately position yourself for an NBA championship?
Yeah, it's frustrating because I want to win. Like, that's my main goal. And our video coordinator, Fitz, he said, one thing about T. Lue, he doesn't care about feelings. He wants to win tonight. So we'll take care of tomorrow. And so for me, it's always about winning and putting yourself in position to win. And, nothing like Kawhi, like, to me, Stephen A., you are the best. And it's just like, okay, say you lost your voice.
Right.
Would you want to quit? Would you want to quit doing it? Or are you going to try to wait to come back and keep coming back and keep coming back?
Fair.
And that's kind of like, situation Kawhi's there. Like, why would he quit? He's still young. He's still at the top of the game when he plays. And it's just unfortunate luck. But he's doing everything he can to get back on the floor.
Was I wrong when I went ballistic this summer, when I heard that he was going to try to join Team USA and I almost lost, I almost had a heart attack? They're like, oh, no, you've been hurt during the regular season. You got to make sure you're ready for the Clippers. The hell with Team USA. They can get gold without you. Was I wrong for feeling that way towards Lawrence Frank and Steve Ballmer and saying the hell with all of that Team USA stuff? You need him with the healthy for the upcoming Clippers season.
Listen to this. This is very interesting what Coach Lue says here.
Yeah, I think so. I think because, when players have goals in mind and like he was feeling good, but also it was a good thing for us because, when he left Team USA and, he started to see that he wasn't where he wanted to be.
That's the setback that he brought up, maybe a month ago when we finally found out there was a setback right after Team USA. Listen to this.
When he left Team USA and, he started to see that he wasn't where he wanted to be, then we was able to go back and reevaluate because we thought he was further along than he was.
They thought he was further along than he was, hence the setback.
I thought at USA he had some really good days, and so after USA was over, he continued to go back and work out, and then we saw certain things that wasn't good.
There it is. There it is. When Joey Lynn asked that question maybe a month ago, we got the answer out of Coach Lue saying there was a setback after Team USA. This is him really elaborating on it.
Was over, he continued to go back and work out, and then we saw certain things that wasn't good. And so we was able to catch it early on, and we started the process earlier. And so it actually was really good for us. It was a blessing in disguise, really, but it's something that Kawhi wanted to do.
A blessing in disguise. If he didn't go to Team USA, they might not have caught what was going on that they're now trying to work through and get Kawhi back from.
And so we was able to catch it early on, and we started the process earlier. And so it actually was really good for us. It was a blessing in disguise, really. But it's something that Kawhi wanted to do. He's tired of being, not playing because he wants to compete. This was a chance for him to compete on a high level. And so he wanted to be a part of that, to get his name back out there going into next season. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out.
How you feel
I'm trying to go back.
about Paul George being gone?
I'm trying to go back. I think it's at the beginning of the interview, but I think that was really critical there with what Coach Lue said about them figuring something out right after Team USA. If he hadn't gone to Team USA, if he wasn't sent home like that, then he goes back to training, then he's not quite right. They might be further behind than where they're at now. I know some of you are saying, yeah, how could they be any further behind? No, that's the truth. It seemed like it's a blessing in disguise for this team.
You've been doing it.
Well, it's been a combination of a lot of things.
I want to see if I can find
years prior to that, came to ESPN.
Bear with me for a second. I'm going to try to find where Coach Lue says Kawhi's coming back.
Offensively, just as he never wants to smile or working.
You're detailed oriented, no nonsense, know what the hell you're doing. You prioritize defense as well. Obviously, your record speaks for itself. So basically, you got your twin on your coaching staff. Is that a fair thing to say?
No, now it's got to be good cop, bad cop.
Him and Jeff Van Gundy.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm detailed, but I like to be, have fun.
You guys can go to the interview for that, but I'm looking.
Always coming off the bench throughout his career. Child's contributions.
Talks about Norman Powell.
When I've gotten on Kawhi Leonard,
all right, we're going to move ahead a little bit here.
A championship.
After the USA was over, extra to come to the Clippers. Like I said, he's a top 10, 15 talent.
Okay.
To come to the Clippers.
This is interesting.
Positions. They would go back and reevaluate.
He asked him about Paul George, and Coach Lue kind of does a comparison between the two. And I've been talking about this for a bit also. Let me find the exact part here.
George being gone.
How do you feel about Paul George being gone?
We miss PG. Like when you lose a talent like PG that can score the basketball, that can guard, 5 different positions on the floor, that's a tough loss, And so I know he had to do what's best for him and for his family as far as the 4th year and getting the max. And, who could turn down the extra $70 million? Especially, going to the final stages of your career. So I understood that, but it's hard. I wanted to win a championship for Mr. Ballmer and Lawrence Frank and for the Clippers organization. And I wanted PG and Kawhi to be a part of it because they're from LA and to come to the Clippers instead of going to the Lakers. I thought it was huge for the Clippers. It was huge for the Clippers following and fan support that they wanted to come to the Clippers and win a championship. And so I thought we could have stayed healthy. I thought we had a real strong shot at doing that. And unfortunately, we just never could. But, losing PG, that's a big loss. When you lose a player like of his caliber, that is hard.
What's the thought that you have in your mind when people will come at a Ty Lue or Steve Ballmer or anybody else and say, you know what, if you had to choose between a PG and a Kawhi Leonard, PG is the one you should have taken because even though he's injury prone himself, the bottom line is that it doesn't appear to be as severe as of a situation as it has been with Kawhi Leonard, that you might have invested in the wrong superstar because in terms strictly in regards to injury or availability. What do you say to that?
No, I don't believe that. I mean, like I said, Kawhi, when he's healthy, like he's on the floor, he's a top 5 talent, And PG, like I said, he's a top 10, 15 talent. But
there's the difference. The thing I've always been saying is even if PG is a little bit more available, and it's not by much, if you look at their Clippers tenure, even with Kawhi missing an entire season, the difference in talent when they are on the court is greater than the difference in number of games played between them. If Kawhi is available, you have a chance to beat anyone. Even if Paul George is available, if you don't have Kawhi, it doesn't matter. You can't even get out the first round, even with James Harden and Paul George. That's the difference. That's why you go with Kawhi over Paul George. It may be more of an injury risk, availability risk, but what does it matter if you have Paul George available if he can't elevate you the way Kawhi can? Like, That made no sense to me.
Both of those guys have had their share of injuries, and it's like I said, it's not from the lack of working hard or wanting to be on the floor or putting the work in. It's just from the lack of, like I said, bad luck. And so, if you have a chance to get, Kawhi Leonard, who's a top 5 player in the NBA, you can't let that go. And you just got to have prayers and hopes that one day finally he's going to be able to sustain and play a whole season and get through the playoffs, which hasn't been the case. But I don't think we made the wrong decision at all.
Like, when Kawhi's on the court, he plays like a top 5 player. When Paul George is on the court, he could be a top 10 player. He could be a top 5 player sometimes, or he could be a top 30 player, a top 40 player, a guy that will fade into the background at times. With Kawhi, you have a shot. Maybe it's hard to have him available, but at least when he is, you have a shot. Even if Paul George is available, who are you beating? Who are you beating with that as the number 1 guy if they had gone with him over Kawhi? Come on.
When you look at the Western Conference and you look at your team right now, obviously, if the players would
jump
10%.
taking a
Okay.
play-in tournament or what have you, how good should we anticipate this particular Clippers squad is going to be?
This is good.
With Kawhi coming back,
Am I to hold on to him coming back?
Listen to
Clippers
this.
squad is going to be.
with Kawhi coming back,
Am I to hold on to him coming back, Ty Lue?
he's coming back. He's coming back.
Am I to hold on to that, Ty Lue?
You hear that? You hear that? He's coming back. He's coming back. Coach Lue is confident,
Him
guys.
coming back, Ty Lue.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Am I to hold on?
I'm telling you, the reason he did this interview is because he's confident in Kawhi's health and that he is coming back. I don't think it's a coincidence the timing of the interview happens now. If Kawhi was going to be out for an extended period of time right now and wasn't, turning a corner, and at least at practice, he's not practicing with the team yet, but getting up shooting drills and stuff, like, that's the reason I think this interview happened now, because they've been friends. Coach Lue could have came on anytime this summer. Why now? Because he's actually got some ammo. He's confident that Kawhi's coming soon. Because if he leaves this interview with Stephen A. and then Kawhi's still not back for another 2 months or something, Stephen A. is going to kill him. And they're friends. But I think Coach Lue knows Kawhi's around the corner here. So it's safe to come out and tell Stephen A. he's coming back. He's coming back. And he's not going to, this isn't going to age poorly or anything like that.
Am I to hold on to him coming back, Ty Lue?
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Am I to hold on to that, Ty Lue?
Yes, hold on to it. Yes, sir.
When is he coming back? When's he coming back?
We don't have a timetable, but I guarantee you he'll be back.
Woo!
I guarantee that.
Woo!
He coming back.
We don't have a timetable, but I guarantee you he'll be back. I guarantee that. Like Chuck says, I guarantee.
Oh my Lord! Now every time Chuck, as in Charles Barkley says that 90% of the time his ass is wrong. You know that, right?
We're taking the 10%.
We're taking the 10%. We're taking the 10%. All right. So what's the expectation for the Clippers this season?
Just holding the fort down till Kawhi gets back, and then I expect us to be a playoff team. And when we get to the playoffs, like I said, it could be a lower seed, so you're gonna have to face, the OKCs or the Denver Nuggets or those top teams in the West because, with our best player being out, we just gotta try to stay afloat. But once we get to the playoffs and we're able to put our schemes in and do different things, I like our chances. So we just gotta continue to just, stay right there in that, 5, 6, 7, 8 spot until Kawhi gets back, making sure we're in the play-in at worst. And then just going from there. But I think we can make a strong run with the additions of, Derek Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, getting Nick Batum back, Mo Bamba, Kevin Porter. We're really good defensively. And, you add Kawhi to that defensively, we're really, really good. So I like our chances. We really been struggling to score the basketball at times, when you're missing your best player and the system's mostly built around a player like Kawhi. It could get tough offensively, but I don't fault our guys. We scrap and compete every single night, Stephen A. And that's all you can ask for from a young team, from a team that just, scraps to find a way to try to win games.
I need to hear that guarantee again from him about Kawhi.
The squad is going to be.
He's coming back.
Am I to hold on to that, Ty Lue?
Yes, hold on to it. Yes, sir.
When is he coming back? When's he coming back?
We don't have a timetable, but I guarantee you he'll be back. I guarantee that. Like Chuck says, I guarantee.
Oh my.
Guarantee.
My Lord.
I guarantee that. Like Chuck says, I guarantee.
Oh my Lord. Now every time Chuck, as in Charles Barkley, said that 90% of the time his ass is wrong. You know that, right?
You're taking the 10%.
We taking the 10%. David Hong said, PG is not as consistent as Kawhi Leonard. Not even close. Kawhi is consistently great. Paul George varies. It's so up and down. It is a roller coaster throughout a regular season and, of course, during the playoffs with him. So if both guys and their availability is sketchy, why not go with the one with a much higher ceiling in the end? Of course, you got to go with Kawhi Leonard over Paul George. Paul George missed a ton of games too. Let's hear from Coach Lue. You know what? Before we get to that, does this work better before or after? I already played it, Ray. Where were you? Where were you? I already played it. Kawhi trolling the reporters earlier today at practice, wouldn't put a shot up until they left. He's done this before too. I want you to hear from Coach Lue about the Lakers job and how they fumbled the bag with him. This is, I've known the story, but hearing it from Coach Lue, it's just a little bit different here.
I thought
Lakers before you ever went. This question too, because you were supposed to be the damn coach of the Los Angeles Lakers before you ever went to the Clippers. I didn't forget that. What the hell happened, Ty Lue? How did the Lakers mess that up where they didn't get you?
Lakers fans, you better go earmuffs right now because this is going to be painful.
As their coach, how did they mess that up?
I think, like you said, the respect level of, where I came from and knowing LeBron was on our team. And so, yeah, you automatically think, well, LeBron James did everything, which he did a lot, but I don't think they had the same respect for me as I felt they should. Now, they offered me the job.
Wow.
But I don't think they had the same respect for me as I felt they should. Now, they offered me the job on a 3-year basis, and they wanted to pick my coaching staff, and I just wasn't going to do that. And I think more so for me to be a championship coach, to take a 3-year deal when everyone else is getting 5-year deals and more money, and then you want to pick my staff as well. I just thought that was, a slap in the face. And I think, as a young black head coach, I just thought it was a bad example I was setting for other guys coming up, after me. And then, last thing, me, Steven, I'm a loyal person, and so for me to take the job and leave my guys behind in Cleveland with no job, they were going to be out of the league and wasn't going to be able to take those guys with me. I just felt that was, it was tough for me to do, to leave my guys behind. And so, like I said, Lakers didn't do anything wrong. Like you said, they offered me the job. They chose me to do it, and it was up to me to take the deal. And I just said, I respectfully declined, and so, I love my relationship with Lawrence Frank, Mark Hughes, and Trent Redden. I love my relationship with Mr. Ballmer, which has been great. And so really for me, like I said, it was a blessing in disguise because I have built some great relationships coming to the Clippers. And so I'm happy to be here.
The Lakers lowballed him. They disrespected him. They did what a lot of people do. Even some people in Clipper Nation don't like Coach Lue. Say, oh, LeBron won that championship. What did Coach Lue do? If you watch when they were down 3-1 to Golden State in 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers, some of the moves he made and the buttons he pushed with playing old Richard Jefferson with some 5-out lineups in a Game 7, he was brilliant with the schematics. They don't win without Coach Lue. We saw what happened with David Blatt. They don't win without Coach Lue. So for the Lakers to come in and they want to pick his coaching staff, they only want to give him 3 years. That's just, it's disrespectful. Coach Lue called it a slap in the face. Like, come on. They bought into the narrative too. Like, it's one thing for the fans to feel like that, but anybody that's in the know understands exactly how vital he was with rotations and lineups and in-game adjustments against the Golden State Warriors. It's why every year, guys, he gets voted in that GM poll by being the best in-game adjuster. The smartest guys out there that are doing this for a living always say it's Coach Lue.
What about the notion that LeBron could have done more because he
Listen
is
to this.
LeBron James, greatest player in the world, champion, 4-time champion, or 3-time champion at the time before he won with the Lakers in the lockout short season, that somebody with his cachet, his power, his influence could have done more to ensure that the Lakers may have given you a 5-year deal.
And he did. And he called me twice.
Right.
And I said, yeah, he called me twice. What do I got to do? You want this? I said, no, I want them to respect me. How I don't want to have to go to you to get my deal done. If they don't respect me, like I should be respected, then it's okay. Like he was pissed off. He was mad about it. But him and Rich Paul both stepped up and said, what we got to do to get it done. And I just didn't, I didn't like the way it was handled. And so give Ron credit. Him and Rich Paul both stepped up. Numerous amount of phone calls to try to get it done. And once it came to me in that regard, I was just like, you know what? Now I'm just going to sit out and wait for another opportunity.
So it's fair to say.
Wow. The Lakers completely blew this. The organization, not LeBron. He tried to make it happen for Coach Lue, but I understand where he's coming from. If I got to have LeBron be the guy that sticks up for me to get the deal done on my terms, it's just not worth it. They still don't respect me. That's all it's about.
Say that you enjoy beating up on the Lakers more so than you enjoy beating up on most teams.
No, I just like to win. I just like to win. Like I said, Lakers where it all started for me. And I have a great respect for Jeannie Buss and, Dr. Buss and, Jerry West, Mitch Kupchak, those who gave me my opportunity to be there. And so I will always love the Lakers. I have no hate for them. It was my first opportunity, won 2 championships there. Probably the best time of my life for playing basketball, and so I have no disrespect or ill will towards the Lakers at all. When we play, of course I want to win. That's whoever we play. But they gave me my first shot, and I will always, like I said, have love and respect for the Lakers.
Now, he did win 11 straight games against them when he first took over as the coach of the Clippers. He won his first 11 games against the Lakers. The Lakers just finally beat Coach Lue as the coach of the Clippers. Last season was the first time. They took 3 of 4 against the Clippers. So make of that what you will. One more soundbite for you guys here, and then we'll move on and talk about the Houston Rockets game coming up tomorrow here.
Like if you look at as far as the
Last question, 25. What would you define as success for the Los Angeles Clippers for the 2024-25 season if Kawhi Leonard doesn't come back?
At least conference finals.
Conference finals.
Yeah.
Without Kawhi?
No, you said if he comes back.
I said if he doesn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I said if he
back. Okay. if he doesn't, realistic for us, I think, being that 6th, 7th AC, being in the play-in, and then fight for a chance to make the playoffs. That's our mindset and that's our goal. We want to make the playoffs, and I think if Kawhi doesn't come back, we've shown that we can win games. We've shown that we have the blueprint defensively how we want to play every single night. And so for me, like I said, to get into the playoffs and have a chance to play in the playoffs, I think would be a huge step for our team this year without Kawhi.
And if he does come back, conference finals.
That's what I see. That's what I see. That's what I would want to do, make it to the conference finals. A lot of pressure I put on myself. Like I said, it could be tough, it could be hard, but I'm not going to sell myself short.
You shouldn't. I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be the conference finals with Kawhi Leonard. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
What you think?
I ain't going to lie to you. I can't see y'all get to the conference finals. Even with Kawhi, I can see you getting to the semifinals. But right now, bro, I'm looking at Phoenix, and OKC's not going away. OKC's not going away.
Phoenix.
And with Chet Holmgren comes.
I'm sorry, Steve, to cut you off too. Ime. Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
Ime, the job he's doing in Houston.
Oh my God. What a job. What a.
All right. That's a good transition. Thanks for the handoff there, Coach Lue. Thanks for the assist. we can talk about the Clippers taking on the Houston Rockets tomorrow. But I just want to get that sound out there since it's not often that your head coach is on a show like that. And I just don't think it's a coincidence, guys. I don't think he's going on with Stephen A. Smith, who's been talking all that trash about Kawhi Leonard for a while now. If he doesn't think Kawhi Leonard's coming back soon, the way he was talking about it, he's coming back. He's coming back. I guarantee it. He's confident in this. Makes me more confident that Kawhi will be back soon. So let's hear Coach Lue. I know we have some audio from Lauren Rosen, who we're rescheduling for next week during a weekday, because I thought people would be too busy right now anyways. College football Saturday, college football championships going on. I didn't want to burn a great interview on a weekend. We'll have it coming up later this week. But I know she asked Coach Lue about Houston earlier today at practice.
One of these days, no particular day.
Obviously, the team looks different than it did in some ways when you guys were last in Houston, but reflecting on adjustments that you've made based on this specific team, which are the most important ones for tomorrow?
Most important adjustments against the Houston Rockets for tomorrow, after, they have played them twice and did not fare very well in those two games.
I think handling their pressure. I think they did a good job of ball pressure. I think taking care of the basketball is going to be another thing. And then we got to get back in transition. We can't allow them to play in transition.
Does the rest help specifically against like a young, fast team like Houston?
I hope so. I hope so. They are fast, they're athletic, they play with pace. They're really good defensively. And Ime's done a great job of just having to buy into his system and what he's doing. So they're playing really good basketball right now.
Okay, so he said a couple different things there about the Rockets.
I think handling their pressure. I think they did a good job of ball pressure.
Handling their pressure, their ball pressure. He talks about a lot of the times owning our space. They did not do a good enough job against the Houston Rockets in either game. The first one looks closer than it actually is. The first, remember, they played a 2-game miniseries in Houston about 3 weeks ago. They lost the first game 111 to 103. This was, I think, the first game that Terrence Mann was coming off the bench. Obviously, no Terrence Mann in this ball game tomorrow. More on the injuries going on in a second here. But somebody who is playing, Norman Powell. We heard that from Coach Lue. He practiced, so did Kevin Porter Jr. Norman Powell got shut down in those 2 games. They got into his airspace. They kept him from going right. The first game, he was 5 of 18 in Houston, 13 points. The Clippers lost 111 to 103. It wasn't that close. It was the backups who actually made a big run, and Coach Lue kept them in. I want to say they had it to within 4 with maybe 3 minutes left. And Coach Lue, he let the backups ride it out. It was 107 to 103 with 1:42 left after Bones Highland, one of those backups in the game, one of the driving forces of the Clippers getting back into it, knocked down a free throw. So 4-point game. Coach Lue didn't go back to the starters. He said the backups got us back in this after the starters were down big, and he let them ride it out. They eventually lost 111 to 103. They get a day off. Then they play, still in Houston, an in-season tournament game. This was on a Friday night, and the Clippers got smoked even worse, and it was concerning to me. In fact, probably the most concerning loss of the season up to that point, just because I thought they were going to respond after losing that first game. It shows how good Houston is, and they've continued to play great basketball. This was them having a moment. It happened against the Clippers, unfortunately, but I think it was a turning point for them. They won that second game 125 to 104. Norman Powell, 3 of 11, 8 points. Struggled in both games against Houston. And it's about their ball pressure, as he said.
Reflecting on adjustments that you've made based on this specific team, which are the most important ones for tomorrow?
I think handling their pressure. I think they did a good job of ball pressure. I think taking care of the basketball is going to be another thing. And then we got to get back in transition. We can't allow them to play in transition and get out to get easy basketball.
So their ball pressure, Just expect the physicality out there. Take care of the basketball. Get back in transition. Top 3 things there from Coach Lue coming tomorrow against the Houston Rockets. But I think Norman Powell is going to have a big game, especially because, as you guys alerted me to off the top, I hadn't seen the Clippers PR tweet about the injury report that has Mo Bamba questionable with a left knee injury recovery. So I'm guessing this is the same knee that had some swelling before. That's a little bit concerning. Chris Dunn, illness, less concerning. James Harden, right groin soreness. But they do get back Norman Powell and Kevin Porter Jr. So there's a trade-off, but they already don't have Terrence Mann. Of course, no Kawhi, no Kobe Brown. PJ Tucker's not with the team. It makes things very, very difficult. I haven't timed out the real Mikal once, but now I will, for him saying, please stop timing me out. Like, the guy keeps talking all this trash. I think he's just trolling or whatever. I don't understand what his angle is here. Stop timing me out. I didn't time him out, but now I have. That's actually kind of a funny bit. The real Mikal, I respect it, but not enough not to time you out. The Rockets, by the way, if you need an update on their rankings, because they did have the second best defense for some time and still do. They're 15-8. They got the second best defensive rating in the league. They are still an average team offensively. They're 16th. But Coach Lue talked about their pace. They can't turn the basketball over because the Rockets will kill them in transition. They have the 12th fastest pace that they play at. The Clippers, they're still pretty far down there. They're 21st in pace. As for where the Clippers currently rank, and this will change by the end of tonight because NBA games are going on, but 23rd offensively, defensively, they dropped to 6th. Why? I told you Minnesota was a problem. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they have a defensive rating of 107.8. They're 5th now. The Clippers, defensive rating of 107.9. The Timberwolves, in 4 games, I think 4 games have been played since they were the 12th best defense, and now they're 5th. That would include 3 games against the LA teams. It was the Clippers on a Friday night, then the Lakers, I think, on a Monday night, then the Clippers again on a Wednesday, and then last night against the Golden State Warriors. Those were the 4 games they played, and just like that, they're top 5 defense. I was concerned. Anthony Edwards called him out for being soft. Guys got the message. Your leaders talk like that. You listen. Wait to his words. Let's see what we got here. Yes, Harden is questionable for tomorrow's game. I probably shouldn't feel like this. I don't want to take him for granted, and I could be wrong. But I still feel like James Harden's going to play. It's his former team. He hasn't missed a game yet, and they just had 3 days off. So unless the groin injury happened today at practice, I would think that's something maybe he was dealing with coming out of their last game. That bad loss by 28 to Minnesota that we don't speak of that happened on Wednesday. I don't know. I just expect James Harden to be there. Like, he's a tank. He plays through so much. So don't want to take him for granted. Don't want to do that. But I do think there's a decent chance he still plays, even though he's currently questionable. And why not? We've seen guys against the Clippers like Aaron Gordon, who was doubtful earlier in the day, then gets to questionable. Then that night he's played. Clippers still won that game, though. When it comes to transition fast break points, Houston is 4th. So, again, Coach Lue stressing no turnovers. Got to get back in transition. It's because the Houston Rockets score 18 points per game in transition. The Clippers, 15.6. Middle of the pack. That's 15th. But that's a good number for them. Let's see points in the paint right now, where these two teams stack up. The Clippers still top 15. They're 13th in points in the paint, 48.8. Houston, top 10. They're 10th at 49.3. Clippers a couple spots behind them at 13th. So it's not significant, but the Houston Rockets were very good about keeping the Clippers out of the paint, I believe, those first two games. I think the Clippers are just going to have to hit some three-pointers against Houston, which they didn't really do in Houston. They were 10 for 40 in the second game after they had a day off, and I thought they were really going to bounce back and have a much better performance. And the first game, they were 14 to 38. That's all right. That's 36.8%. I think they might have to hit 14 plus, at least 14 threes against Houston this time out. As the Rockets offensively, I need to check on their three-point shooting because it wasn't great for a while. But their defense is so good, it keeps them in games. And I think their offense has been coming around. Şengün has been playing very well. They still don't scare me in a 7-game series, but that doesn't mean they can't beat the Clippers tomorrow night. Yeah, Houston is shooting 32.8% from three. Like I thought. They're not a good three-point shooting team. They have a bunch of guys who are having down years. They shot better against the Clippers, though, I think, in those two games, of course. Clippers are just outside top 10 in three-point shooting, 37.3%. And they are shooting 5% better from distance, just about. It's significant. But if I look up 2-point percentage here, let me see what we got. Team percent on twos. Houston 7th. They're shooting 52.3% on two-pointers. Clippers are 14th, just at 50%. I think that's up a little bit for them, though. So it's not terrible to see. If you guys have any more thoughts on the Houston Rockets and why they have given the Clippers grief, like Amin here, I feel like Houston's athleticism is very problematic as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, it's not wrong at all. You're not wrong. They have a young team that I expected to be good this season. I thought they'd be a top 6 team in the Western Conference. I didn't think they'd be top 3 like they have been so far. But good coaching staff, young players, they're starting to put it together. They're 15-8. They're the number 2 seed, but they are a game and a half up on the Clippers, who are in the 6th spot currently. If you check out Houston's team stats, it's not overwhelming. Jalen Green leads them at 19 points per game. Okay. What's he shooting from the field? 39%, 32% from the outside. Alperen Şengün should probably be featured a little bit more. He's right behind him, 18.9 points per game. Şengün, 47% from the field. That's not great for a center. But he does take a 3.5 per game, 1.5 threes per game, and only shoots 26.5% from the outside. Fred VanVleet, who has had a big game recently, he's getting 16 per game, but just like Jalen Green, shooting 39% from the field and 32% from three. Behind him is Dylan Brooks at 12.5 points per game. 42% from the field, 38% from 3 on 5 attempts per game for Dylan Brooks is very solid. That's impressive. Amen Thompson, 12 and 7 boards per game. He's shooting 54% from the field, as you would expect. Jabari Smith Jr. also getting just about 12 per game. He's only shooting 43% from the field. But Tari Eason has been a real problem, and he was a thorn in the Clippers' side in those 2 games. Defensively, very good. He and Amen Thompson, those guys, they get up to guard. Those wings really take away a lot from the Clippers. Now, you can make the argument, as someone did earlier, maybe the Clippers are holding guys out because they'll end up getting, I think the Clippers are off until next Friday. I know it is Hard to understand that the Clippers actually have a lot of time off all of a sudden. Yeah, so they play this game tomorrow night, and then they're off until Friday when they're in Denver. So conceivably, if you did want to give James Harden a ton of rest, if you did want to give some of these guys significant time off, now is the time to do it. Mo Bamba, Chris Dunn, James Harden, they're all questionable for tomorrow night's game. You could end up giving them like 8 days off if you hold them out against Houston, but it's a big game. And you just had 3 days off. So I still lean towards James Harden will be available. I have no idea on this. Just throwing S out there. Ray said nervous about tomorrow's game, but hopeful. Norm looked incredible last Tuesday. Just needs to get him some solid screens. Was Norm's last game against the Blazers? Yes, sir. Amin Ashan said, but it's their defense and athleticism that really hurts us. I know. It hurt. Here's the thing. People say, like, oh, Houston's a bad matchup for the Clippers. They're a bad matchup for anyone right now. They're second in the West. I'm sorry. That stuff just irks me. It's like not a good matchup against the Clippers. Who wants to play them? Nobody does. They're good. Are they more of a thorn in the side of a team like the Clippers that is older, slower? Sure. But they're just a good team now. It's not just a bad matchup against the Clippers. Absent regard said Şengün is underutilized. I think so. I think they still have issues there trying to figure out who are their go-to guys, the pecking order when it comes to shot attempts out there with the Houston Rockets. I think that's a real problem. Amin said, by the way, Adam, do you think Tari Eason's defense is similar to Kawhi's? Has Ime Udoka compared Tari to Kawhi? Yeah. I think that's high praise, but Ime's forgotten more ball than I'll ever know. So, yeah, I would say that's a fair comparison. He's got a lot of time to prove things. Young player in this league. Ooh, Tari Eason is out tomorrow. I knew he was injured, but he's already out. Rockets injury report. Let me check on. He had a concussion, right? Yeah, he is out. That is unfortunate for the Rockets. Fred VanVleet's day today with a right knee contusion. Both teams could be missing key guys then. Okay, that levels the playing field some. Thomas said, think Clippers might come out sluggish after days off and lose. I've seen that before. When's the last time they've had multiple days off? They literally haven't had multiple days off since October, my man. So if you're talking about Clippers teams of the past, well, great. That's the past. We don't know how this Clippers team is going to come out. If they don't have James Harden, they don't have some of their key guys, that's more of what I'm worried about. Ray said, my 2-year-old daughter loves James Harden because he's the only player she can easily recognize. Hope he plays. Else she'll ask me, where's Harden? 20,000 times. Amin said, thank goodness Tari is out, but I hope he gets better, though. Speedy recovery. How old is Tari Eason? I'm going to look this up. Yeah, he's only 23, so out of LSU. At 6'8", 215, the size is there. Big, strong, athletic. The Kawhi comparisons, I think, are appropriate with his defense. Hey, Kawhi's offense came along slowly, too. I wouldn't bet on him getting there, but you never know what a guy's work ethic is. I feel like I'm forgetting something. There's some key here that I am missing. Now, rebounding percentage in this game. Here's one. The Houston Rockets have the #1 rebounding percentage in the NBA. Clippers are 5th. It's great. Never thought they'd be that good. But the Houston Rockets, with all that athleticism, size, length, number one rebounding percentage. The Clippers are the best on the defensive glass in defensive rebounding percentage. They're number one. Houston's 11th there. But offensive rebounding percentage, Houston is second, and the Clippers are 12th. So when Houston misses a shot, there's a real battle going on there between them being that good on the offensive glass and the Clippers being that good on the defensive glass. That will tell you a lot. And I do want to see, because the Clippers hadn't been out-rebounded much this season, but the first two games, game one, Houston out-rebounded them 59-42 and had 18 offensive rebounds to the Clippers 10. My goodness. They only got off one more shot than the Clippers. How is that possible? Houston had 13 turnovers. The Clippers had 9. Houston went and attempted one more free throw than the Clippers. Clippers had 16. Still feels like they should have gotten more shots off, way more shots off than the Clippers in that one. There weren't that many more turnovers. I mean, beating them up on the boards 59-42, and by 8, they were +8 on the offensive rebounds. That is a really big number. That's probably my key against Houston, because it also tells you if the Clippers are getting into the paint, if they're getting some offensive rebounds and just matching the physicality of the Rockets. So game 2, the Clippers out-rebounded them 51-48. They still got destroyed. They had 14 turnovers, the Rockets 12. The Rockets hit 19 threes in that game. So some of that was a hot shooting night from the Houston Rockets in game 2 of that 2-game mini-series in Houston. Some of that was outlier shooting by a team that shot 10% above what they're shooting from 3 on the season. There's not a lot you can do about that. The turnovers were almost even. The Clippers had more rebounds than Houston. I'm trying to see what Houston shot in game 1. 15-40. So they shot way better. They shot better than the Clippers in both games, and way better than they normally shoot from 3. Aside from all the stuff we're talking about with size and athleticism and defense, the Rockets simply outshot the Clippers and shot way above their three-point percentage on the year, which is at the bottom of the league. That actually makes me feel better. Could it happen for a third game? Sure. But law of averages says Houston will not hit from distance the way they did the first 2 games, where they shot like 8% above their season average from 3. Absent said, Bones will probably see the floor tomorrow. Hopefully he looks better than he did versus Minnesota. Maybe, because KPJ is back. KPJ practiced. Nuggets are losing to the Wizards. Amin said, rebounds are going to be key for us to have an opportunity to win. We can't let Houston get offensive rebounds. Agree with you. Ray said, Houston forced us into so many bad shots. Really shutting down Norman Powell, which I brought up earlier, I think was the key for them. That was, oh crap, Norman Powell is leveling up. He's having a moment in this league right now where he's advancing his play, and Houston circled him, keyed in on him, and shut him down in both games in Houston. ST said, Houston, we have a goblin. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a goblin. Clippers about to go goblin mode in this bitch. Okay. Let me see if I can find a dog that is going goblin mode, since you guys are bringing it up here. Is this? Yeah, this is pretty good goblin mode dog. Reddit to the rescue. Not always on Clippers Reddit, but sometimes. Is this the Clippers going goblin mode? I hope so. They got the dog in them to do so, but if they don't have Chris Dunn, who's questionable with an illness, that hurts. Amin said, can we please kick Houston's ass? I want to see the Rockets and what they've done most recently in their last couple of games. This is what I didn't like. I saw this happen and I was upset. This was on Thursday night. I saw them lose to Golden State, and I said, damn it, that's the last game they play before the Clippers. Anytime a team is playing a game right before they play the Clippers, I want them to win that game. So they come into LA fat and happy, to where they might rest on their laurels, to where they might be puffing their chest out and being overconfident. That's what I typically like to see. Instead, the Rockets have lost their last two on the road against the Kings and on the road against Golden State. This is going to be a really tough game for the Clippers. Ime Udoka has their full attention. They just lost 2 in a row. They're not trying to lose 3 in a row for the first time this season, guys, the Houston Rockets. That's scary to me. Because right before they lost 2 in a row, they had won 3 in a row. Against who? Timberwolves, 76ers. You're like, 76ers, who cares? The Thunder. They took down OKC 119 to 116. Isaiah Hartenstein was playing in that game. SGA had 32. Fred VanVleet, that was the big game I was talking about earlier he recently had. He had 38 in that game. Maybe he got it out of his system, right? I hope that's the case, because since then he had 13 points in back-to-back games and back-to-back losses, again in Sacktown and then San Francisco against Golden State. Not going to be easy, though. They have not lost 3 in a row all season. Clippers have a chance to make that happen for the Houston Rockets. They've had 3 days off. That worries me. Ray said Houston is mentally unable to beat the Warriors going back to 2020. It's a different Houston team. I don't think what happened in 2020 has any bearing on a completely different roster in 2024, my guy. Amin said, hey, let's make Houston's mood even worse by handing them an L. Robert said, then let's make it 3. 3 in a row. 3 losses in a row for Houston, please. Ghost said, Clips just got blown out by Minnesota. We should come out firing too. Yeah, they should. They lost by 28. You're right. I tend to look at it from the other team's perspective. I try to get out of my Clippers bubble and try to be objective. And I just see a team that is coached by Ime Udoka, has lost 2 in a row. This probably has one of their goals this season, never to lose 3 in a row. I want to see how some of the guys played. By the way, let me see here. They have lost to Golden State twice this season. So I guess that goes in Ray's favor of his argument, but I hate when people go back to completely different rosters and coaching staffs and be like, they can't beat this team. Well, they're a completely different team now. What does that matter? Why would they still be a bad matchup against them? In that Golden State Warriors game for the Houston Rockets that they lost by 6 at 99 to 93, they shot 37% from the floor, 10 of 38 from the outside. Whew. Awful shooting game for them. Defensive struggle. 99-93 was your final. In the Kings game, 120 to 111 loss for the Houston Rockets. These are the last 2 games they lost. They shot 44% from the field and 14 of 39 from the outside. That's 36%. Better. Man, they destroyed the Kings on the boards, 53 to 34. But Sacktown went 14 of 30 from distance. That's 47%. So they call it the great equalizer, my friends. Hot 3-point shooting. It can do that to you. Amin said, I feel like this game is a good test of where we are at as well. Yeah, you could see some growth against the team they lost to twice already. By the way, there's this little subplot going on. The Houston Rockets also have a pick swap with the OKC Thunder, meaning whoever ends up with the higher pick, the more beneficial pick between the Rockets and the Clippers is the one OKC will take. So you got to stay ahead of the Houston Rockets in the standings to make sure you don't have the worst pick, or in this case, the better pick for OKC to take. Ray said they lost every time last season too. Same roster. I think it's less about Houston, more about Steph and Draymond holding a grudge against them going back to the Harden days. Why would they hold a grudge? They won. Usually, it's the other team that has an axe to grind. The Warriors won all those games. You say they lost every game to them last season. Again, Houston's not the same. They are better than last season, clearly. I bet they beat the Warriors next time they play. Amin said, I feel like anytime a team is struggling but go against us, they play well. I don't know why that is the case. It's not because they play the Clippers. It's because if a good team is struggling, it's more likely that next win is around the corner because they're a good team and they don't typically struggle. So you lose 2 in a row like the Rockets and you're a good team, you'd expect to win that next game just playing the numbers. That's the reason. But a lot of the hot shooting has gone the Clippers' way so far this season. In terms of opponent three-pointers against, the Clippers have been blessed with teams missing open looks against them so far this season, guys. When everybody says, everybody shoots well against us, every fan base says this. Every fan base thinks, this player is always a killer for us. Every fan base thinks that. But when it comes to three-point shooting, this is one of those things where Clipper Nation always feels like, oh, of course, they're going to hit a bunch of threes tonight. Well, Houston kind of did in those 2 games against the Clippers in Houston. They shot and knocked down an inordinate amount of threes compared to what they normally shoot from the outside. But on the season, opponents are shooting the 7th worst three-point percentage against the Clippers. Teams are only shooting 34.3% against the Clippers. That's a great number. Now, they're only shooting 34.2% against the Houston Rockets. Even better. Rockets have the 2nd best defense. Clippers have the 6th best currently. I just want to point that out. You think, oh, Murphy's Law with the Clippers. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It hasn't been the case. And we're talking about that's not just defense. Those are a lot of the time it can be fluky shooting. And the Clippers have benefited from a lot of open threes being missed against them. Alex Webb said, is this the first time Lakers and Clippers have a home game at the same time? Ooh, I didn't think about that, guys. I think it is. It is. The Lakers play tomorrow at 6:30. The Clippers play at 6. This is the first time, right? Or wrong? No, I think that's right, Alex. Great observation. I did not pick up on that. All right, I want to leave you guys with this. Remember Coach Lue and the sound we played earlier and talking about how poorly the Lakers handled recruiting him? We want you to be our head coach, but we also want to put guardrails around you and pick your coaching staff and only give you 3 years, even though you had won a championship, because apparently they believed it was all LeBron James, which was definitely not the case. Go back and watch the series and some of the moves that Coach Lue made against the Golden State Warriors down 3-1. So I stumbled upon a Spaces conversation on X the other night. And for everybody that always wants me on Blue Sky, it's like, guys, I want less places to have to be. If anything, I'm reducing my social media platforms. And nobody's leaving. And every time people say, oh, we're leaving, we're taking our ball and going home, it tends to never happen. And people end up coming back to X, whether you like or hate Elon, however you feel about it. This is the place that I've been talking basketball since 2009. So I'm going to stay here. If everybody does leave to go to Blue Sky or someplace else, I'll be there. But as long as everybody is still here, which they pretty much are, it's what always happens. We're all going to Threads. No, they're not. No, No, they're not. They try it for like 2 days, maybe a week, and then they come back. And this is one of the reasons I'm here. I mean, the real only reason is because the basketball conversations. Sports talk. That's why I joined X, formerly Twitter. And I was in a spaces because I had watched the Lakers game last night and they lost in an excruciating fashion to the Atlanta Hawks. I thought it was probably the worst way they could lose a game. I know you might say losing by 41 is worse, like they did to Miami. But then to lose your next game, to play that hard, to have LeBron and AD have triple doubles or whatever, to play that well, and you still lose in overtime, they're probably just thinking right now, no matter what we do, we cannot win a game, the Los Angeles Lakers. And so maybe this is Schadenfreude, but I wanted to get the pulse of Laker Nation and see how their fans were feeling and see how things were going. What's good? I'm like that. Petty Freddy sometimes. But I honestly just wanted some analysis on everything going wrong with the Lakers because I pay attention to the NBA and especially the other team in town because it's easy to, and I just love basketball. And they're a lightning rod for controversy and Lakers drama and all these things. There's no way to avoid it. So I wanted to get some high-level opinions from fans, and I entered a spaces, and I guess it's Coach's Den. That's the spaces I was on. There was probably 500 people in there after they lost to Atlanta last night. And I ended up hearing something very interesting. So I pulled the audio and I posted it at Follow Adam A on X. And I want you guys to hear this if you haven't listened to it already, because sometimes, again, I mentioned the Clipper bubble. It's hard to get outside of your own fanship and your own tribe and see it from a different perspective, because there are people in here that will criticize Coach Lue all the time, or Lawrence Frank and Clippers organization, and why are we doing this and why are we doing that, and think the grass is always greener. Well, here's how Laker fans are feeling right now about the Clippers organization. I don't know if I've ever heard or caught something on tape like this before. And I think you guys would like to hear how Lakers fans currently view your Los Angeles Clippers.
Do the right thing by supplementing them with, check boxes you got to check off that can fulfill what those guys can't do no more. We've seen it with the Mavs. We talked about the Mavs. I'm seeing it with the Clippers right now. Fuck being old. Dude, one of their stars doesn't play. They lost one of their stars. The Clippers didn't blink an eye, bro. They went boom, boom,
Immediately.
boom. We got you Chris Dunn. I think Batum is back. And keep going, bro. They got hella fucking role guys that are
Derrick
keeping them
Jones
competitive.
Jr.
Derrick Jones Jr., exactly, from the Mavs. Me and Zay talk about it all the time. Harden and all the role players around him are keeping him competitive. Norman Powell took a step up as well. They already had him, but still, bro, PG left to a worse situation. Kawhi's still not playing, and the Clippers are still in the thick.
Harden is point. Like, Clippers are like the perfect example to use, bro. The moment PG was announced, what did they do, bro? Sign. Had their roster, like I said, they had a plan on how to move without PG from jump, bro. Like, they were ready for that shit. Like, it's just so embarrassing. They know how to, bro. Clippers have everything we want as an ownership, bro. Like, we deadass want that over here. They have the GM. They have the owner that's crazy about winning. They just don't have the star players that can stay on the court, bro. Like, they're deadass the inverse of us, bro. We got the stars and everything else is bullshit.
We've gotten 2 healthy seasons so far. This season not over, obviously, but pretty much 2 healthy-ish seasons from LeBron and AD. The Clippers literally lost Paul George, and Kawhi hasn't played in 8 months, and they over that stretch have been better record-wise in the regular season, and like much better.
Lakers fans are down cataclysmic right now. They are down so bad. Now, these guys, I'm not taking joy or glee from these specific Laker guys because they're actually talking about some really interesting stuff with team building and construction. And I'm glad they're not the GM of the Clippers because they'd probably do a really good job with some of the stuff they were bringing up and how you have to have certain types of two-way players in today's league, which for whatever reason, I think Rob Pelinka has done some really good things, but it's always been perplexing to me how he's always getting guys that are good on one end of the court, but not the other. And I know it's not easy to find two-way players, but the Clippers seemingly do. And they value that. And I think you have to because great. So Austin Reeves is really good on offense, but he gets picked on defense. Or Cam Reddish is really good at defense, but he's a 0 on offense. Or even Dalton Knecht, who is a great pick, but defensively he's got serious liability there. Over and over again, D'Angelo Russell, great on offense, bad on defense. How do you mix and match and put together the right lineups when you have guys that are so one-sided? It makes things really, really tough. And that audio was revealing to me of how far the Clippers have come, guys. I always say, and Alex Webb brings it up, I always say in many ways, the Clippers organization has only been around for a decade since Steve Ballmer took over in 2014. That's when they became a real franchise. Before that, they had an owner who was actively working against them. If the biggest advantage in sports is ownership, the Clippers were at a disadvantage for like 45 years before Ballmer. So be thankful. I know Thanksgiving's over, but still the holidays. Be thankful for what we have here with the Clippers, with Steve Ballmer, with the front office, with the coaching staff. The Clippers have everything. They just haven't had good health, as these guys pointed out. They haven't been lucky. They haven't been fortunate with their superstars staying healthy. You can't control that. Everything within their control, they're doing great. They're doing well. They've had bad luck. So just take that into consideration when you're feeling down about the team, or if they go through a losing streak, or woe is us, Clippers going to clip type stuff. When you're going Eeyore with it, like Robert Flom or something, just know Clippers overall are a pretty good spot, pretty stable spot. Amin said, in my opinion, to win a championship, you need a star or two and surround your stars or two with good role players. Like I believe super teams can't help you win championships. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, super teams definitely have won championships in the past. The new CBA changes the calculus a little bit. Ray said JJ is way too despondent at this point in the season. You had some great points on the Rogan and Rodney show about being too obsessed over losses and calling out players publicly. If you guys want to check that out, I put the video up in the video section here at Clippers Talk. ST said, feeling grateful. Feeling grateful, feeling positive, feeling like, again, out of all the things we've gotten recently, the Bill Simmons stuff report, the bobblehead that's coming out December 16th with Kawhi Leonard. The thing that I put the most stock in for my reasoning of why I believe Kawhi Leonard's coming back is Coach Lue coming on with Stephen A right now. I don't think he'd be coming on if Kawhi wasn't coming back, because Stephen A would just dunk on him over and over again about it, like he has been, and they're friends. I could be wrong, but
Player with the Lakers, you're a champion as a
I
coach
just
with the
feel
Cleveland
like
Cavaliers. Again, man,
I need to find this audio again. I need it one more time.
When I went ballistic this summer,
I need it one more time. I need Coach Lue saying, I guarantee. I need it one more time. I have to get this.
you had to choose that.
Like I said,
I'm telling you.
When you look at the Western Conference,
Ray said braids are up and so are we.
Obviously, if the players were donated to men or what have you, how good should we anticipate? Hold on.
Yes, hold on.
One more time. I feel like this is the biggest tell that Kawhi is coming back.
With Kawhi coming back.
Am I to hold on to him coming back, Ty Lue?
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Am I to hold on to that, Ty Lue?
Yes, hold on to it. Yes, sir.
When is he coming back? When's he coming back?
We don't have a timetable, but I guarantee you he'll be back. I guarantee that. Like Chuck says, I guarantee.
Oh my Lord! Now you know every time Chuck, as in Charles Barkley said that 90% of the time his ass is wrong. You know that, right?
You're taking the 10%.
We are taking the 10%. I'll leave you with that. Clipper Nation, talk to you tomorrow. Pre-game show starts right back here at 5 and on AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers taking on the Houston Rockets. I'm Adam Osland. We will talk to you then.